Hello. I'd like to reflect a few minutes with you about leadership, various facets of leadership in major gift fundraising. It begins with us as major gift fundraisers. We have a responsibility to exercise leadership by virtue of the positions that have been entrusted to us. And it's our charge to address goals and objectives of our organization by identifying philanthropic opportunities, philanthropic matches, where we can bring a donor and our project, our objective, our goal together in such a way as to get something great to happen for the benefit of the donor and for the benefit of our organization and those whom we serve. So we need to demonstrate in our work leadership. And we demonstrate this through our competency, our professional competency. We should be lifelong learners in our profession. Through our confidence, and confidence grows over time as we exercise our role within the framework in which we find ourselves. And certainly our character, our being people of trust, people who have integrity. This is so important in terms of the relationship developing and prospering over time. The upshot is as leaders, as fundraisers, we influence the future. We encourage others to be greater. In fact, when we bring our passion, our conviction, our causes to others, we inspire them to become greater people and to join with us in these very important missions and addressing these very important needs and aspirations. Another dimension of our exercising our leadership as major gift fundraisers is that we have to prepare leaders. We work with leaders. At our university, I work with the chancellor. On occasion, I work with deans. And it's our job to work with these leaders and to help them to be successful. Now, the fact of the matter is, no two leaders are alike. And there's no such thing as a perfect leader. In fact, one of our challenges in our exercising leaders as fundraisers is to understand the leaders with whom we are working so that we can draw upon their greatest strengths when we go out on calls with them and not put them in a position where they might be perceived as weak or vulnerable in any way. So, they're leaders because they're great in certain areas. We want to magnify their strengths. We want to minimize what they don't do quite as well. And this is something we come to understand as we study our leaders, we work with our leaders, and we grow in a relationship of mutual trust and respect with our leaders. I work with Chancellor Tom George, and I'm in my 7th year of working with Chancellor George, and we're like a 1-2 punch. The Chancellor will come and represent the university in a donor visit, providing updates, telling stories. No question that a donor asks is he not able to answer thoughtfully, thoroughly, and oftentimes with great illustrations and even humor. And I rely upon our Chancellor for these remarkable abilities. He in turn looks to me and trusts me to do the actual soliciting, to bring that conversation into the discussion and to bring it to some conclusion which might involve negotiations or what have you. We've come to work in tandem, and now when donors see us coming after they've seen us once or twice before, they know the drill, but it works really well for us, and I have so much confidence in working with Chancellor George now that we've had this time to understand how we can both perhaps make our greatest contribution in a given call. Now, another way we exercise leadership is to recruit and to maximize volunteers. And if your organization is like ours, you probably rely on some volunteers to help make things happen, to help you to raise money. They can do that by securing visits for you, by making introductions, on a call helping to establish rapport with the person that we might be visiting and be unfamiliar with ourselves, and then offering testimonial To be able to say this is an organization certainly worthy of support, and that they as volunteers in fact support themselves, as might their companies or their foundations. Now, George Paz is an outstanding volunteer for our university, the University of Missouri St. Louis here in Missouri. And George is chairman and CEO of Express Scripts, a Fortune 20 company. And he's a graduate of our business school with an accounting degree. And George has gone with Chancellor George and I on a select number of calls and just had the greatest impact to be able to establish rapport, to secure a visit in some cases with executives that are very, very busy and manage huge companies and may not otherwise take the time to meet with us. And then he offers his testimony about how our university had everything to do with setting a trajectory of great success for George during the course of his professional life. I typically avoid having volunteers fulfill the role of solicitation. And early on at the University of Missouri St. Louis, I was organizing on behalf of our chancellor and the university a major visit, and we're going to go visit a extraordinary corporate leader. And Chancellor George and I, and we had some Chancellor's Council members with us. And one individual's job was to actually suggest that this company consider an 8-figure gift to the university. And this is a significant leader who is going to play this role for us. And we met together, we went through all of it, and a day or two later we had the meeting with the donor. And the call was going very well, except when it came time for this individual to talk about a $10 million commitment. I don't know if he got nervous, but he couldn't do it. Later I found out Chancellor George was thinking that he was going to have to speak up, but I quickly realized I needed to do so, and I did. Afterwards, we were able to assuage the ego of the fellow who felt a little chagrin about how it went, but he had contributed in other ways marvelously in the discussion. But my takeaway was, on these calls of significance, it would be best if I, as the fundraiser, in fact, made the solicitation and handled those negotiations. And in practicing that in the 7 years since that time, we've certainly been able to be perhaps more effective, and we've certainly had our share of success. Another role we exercise leadership in is we prepare. As I mentioned in this previous example, we prepare others to make these calls. We provide talking points, we sit down with them, we tell them how we would like them to interact in the call. We let them know what each person's role is if there's more than the two of us, so that they're crystal clear on what they're going to do and that they're comfortable with it, and that they know what I'm going to do, or if the chancellor's there, what the chancellor is going to do, that each role is clear. We need to call forth leadership, and major gift fundraising is a great way to call forth leadership. We certainly do that by asking donors to be more supportive and to exercise leadership in that way. But meaningful engagement of volunteers leads to ongoing and oftentimes increasing philanthropic commitments on their part as well. Now, we don't want to waste their time and ask them to do things for our institutions that doesn't have merit and that they don't perceive as being important. Because oftentimes, again, these volunteers, their time is very, very important. The time of every volunteer is very, very important. And some who are managing large organizations or in complex businesses and complex family situations, their time is very, very important. But if we give them something meaningful, what it can do is actually increase their attachment to our organization and position them for future support. I'm thinking of one individual we asked recently to go before the Missouri Senate Appropriations Committee and to testify on behalf of our university about a particular project that we were hoping to get state funding for. And when we asked him to do so, as busy as he is, he altered his schedule, cleared his schedule, took the time, and made the effort to drive a couple of hours to Jefferson City, Missouri from St. Louis, wait his turn, have his 10 minutes, and make a couple hour of driving back. More than a half a day. But when we asked him, he said he would be honored to do so. And when he completed it, returned and told us about his experience, he was grateful for having had it. Now, I see this as a wonderful use of a volunteer, where he was able to use his talent, share his conviction and passion, and do something which he perceived as being important to the university, which in fact, of course, indeed, it truly was. So, leadership. There's various ways we are to exercise leadership in our role as fundraisers, and we are to do so well. We have to take this responsibility we have and use it to the very best of our ability in order to bring about the greatest possible change for good in the world that surrounds us on behalf of our organizations and with as many donors as we can possibly move forward. We do this with leaders at our left and at our right. We do this with volunteers at our left and our right. We bring them and provide for them good guidance and counsel and use them in a way to maximize a visit. And we make sure that we secure gifts to advance the important objectives and goals of our organizations. There are some thoughts for you. I'm wondering what you think about this. If you have some additional insights of other ways we need to be providing leadership that haven't occurred to me during our conversation here today. But regardless, I would like to hear from you. Please go to the forum. And I want to thank you very much for taking your time, your valuable time, to consider these thoughts today. Thank you.